Hello, Algebra 2 students. This is Mr. Myers. I'm going to go over the synthetic division that we did yesterday. You first period folks, you noticed at the end of the class yesterday, I was having a little bit of difficulties doing the synthetic division, and I figured out what the problem was. The problem is I was adding when I was supposed to be multiplying, and I'll show you in just a minute what I mean. But I did want to go over synthetic division one more time so that everybody in class can have an opportunity to see it done in a way that isn't confusing. Okay, here we go. We're going to get started. To do synthetic division, the first thing you do is you need to identify all of the coefficients of the polynomials, all of them. And even the coefficient on the linear binomial. And the reason is because, as we talked about yesterday in class, the leading coefficient of the binomial has to be 1. If it is not 1, synthetic division is not going to work the way we show you that it works. There is a process to do that, but we're not going to introduce that to you. On the assessment, you will only have to do synthetic division with the leading coefficient of 1 on the linear binomial. Okay, with that stated, we identify all of the coefficients and we write them in order down here. Notice that I take everything, not just the number, but the sign in front of it. If there's no sign, obviously it's positive. If there is a subtraction sign, we turn that into a negative sign and put it on that number. If the number's positive, we just write it as a positive number. Okay, once you do that, then you need to find out what makes this 0. What makes this 0? You want the number that makes the parentheses 0. That would be positive 2. Okay, you have your synthetic division lined up. Now it's just a matter of the process. First of all, the first number just comes down straight. You do nothing with that first number. Then you multiply the outside number, which made the linear binomial 0 equal to 0. You multiply those two numbers together and you write that number over here. So this is multiply. I'm just going to abbreviate MULT for multiply. And then you put that number over there. We're going to add those two numbers. That's -1. Now you do the same thing again. I'm going to change colors so you can see. I'm going to multiply. Oops, didn't change colors. So let's go ahead and undo that one. There we go. I'm going to multiply again the answer by that number, and I'm going to put that answer there. That's -2, and then we're going to add again. If I add 3 and -2, I get +1. And then finally, I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to multiply that number by that number and put the answer over here. So 2 times 1 is 2. And the answer goes right there, and we get 9. Okay, I know I have a few lines going here, but it's really important that you see how we do this. And if you watch the lines, that should make sense. Okay. Now that I have my numbers, I can write my answer to what is 2x to the third minus 5x squared plus 3x plus 7, all divided by x minus 2. So I look at these coefficients. I have 2, -1, and +1. I look at my x's. That was x to the third. I reduce the exponent by 1. This is x squared. I reduce it by 1. This was x. I reduce it by 1. X to the 0 power is 1. So 1 times 1 is just the 1. It was a positive. And this becomes my remainder. If there's anything left over here, that's a remainder. And you have to write it as a fraction. And the denominator is what you divided by. So I'm going to move the screen up just a little bit, and I'm going to rewrite it and clean it up. So we have the answer of x squared minus x plus 1 plus a remainder of 9 divided by x minus 2. Okay, that's the procedure. That's how you do it. Now, I did want to show you where I made my mistake yesterday. And I also want to show you one other aspect of this. So here we go. If I had a similar polynomial, 2x to the third plus 5x squared plus 9. So you can see this is a very similar polynomial. And I'm going to divide that one by x plus 3. This is the problem I got stuck on yesterday, and I'll show you exactly where I got stuck at. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to write our little house right here. What makes this 0? -3. I'm going to put the coefficients here. Now notice we do not have an x to the first power, so I'm going to put a 0 for a placeholder and then a 9. If you're missing one of the variables to a power, you've got to put a 0 in to hold that place value. So we just bring down the 2. -3 times 2 is -6, so this gives me -1. And this is where I was going wrong yesterday. I was adding these two numbers, and that's why I was coming out wrong. You've got to multiply. -3 times -1 is +3. I kept adding those, and I don't know why I kept doing that, but I did, and that created the problem. So that's 3. And then -3 times +3 is -9. And of course, when we add those, we get 0. So there's no remainder. So we quite simply just rewrite it without a remainder. So we have 2x squared minus an x plus 3. And that's our answer. And that was the answer in the quizzes. And if I would have not added the -3 and the -1 to get -4, I would have had a correct answer. So sometimes that happens in math. You get something, you keep doing procedure the same way, and you can't figure out what you're doing wrong because you're not seeing it. And that's why sometimes it's best just take a step away from the problem and then approach it fresh and anew, where you're not making the same mistake over and over again. I hope that helps. I look forward to seeing everybody in class, and have a great day.